Um, I came on today because I really want to share the amazing benefits of our amazing pure organic barley. Alam nyo naman that I am a 20-year breast cancer survivor. I was first diagnosed in 2001 with ductal carcinoma in situ on my right breast, stage 2. And during that time, I really thought that my life was siguro at the most 6 months left to live. Yun ang sabi ng mga doctor sa akin at that time. Thankfully, during the time that I went through my chemo and radiation therapy, I discovered our amazing barley. And even my doctors are shocked at how my own body recovered. During my first chemo, I was bedridden for more than 21 days. Literally had to be carried to the banyo just to go and make wee-wee or to take a shower. Talagang napaka-imposible. But after I discovered barley, I snuck it into the hospital. Bawal kasi. Pero I believe that knowledge is power, and I really studied everything that I could about my sickness during that time. Nabasa ko at napanood ko sa lahat ng mga videos online na natural, 100% natural naman ang barley. So, hindi siya pwedeng kumontra sa mga chemotherapy drugs na ini-infuse into my body. And just so you can see, I have my scar here from where I had my port put in. Dito nila dinadaan at the time lahat ng chemotherapy, radiation therapy. And during that time, I was told that I should just be strictly adhering to what the doctors told me, which was strict chemotherapy only. And then 6 weeks of strict radiation therapy. But because I really believe that God does not make mistakes, I read about the barley and I decided to try it even though it was against my doctor's advice. So ang ginagawa ko noon is I would stow it away, padadala ko siya sa ospital, and pag walang nakatingin, iniinom ko. So I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse. Everything that I share with you today will be purely my own personal experience and my own personal testimony, which I believe is very powerful because since the time that I was cured and I had survived my cancer 20 years ago, there hasn't been a single negative thing that I have experienced by taking our amazing barley every single day. Now, a lot of people have a lot of questions. Keep in mind, again, I'm clarifying, I'm not a doctor, okay? I'm sharing what I personally have experienced from my own journey with cancer. So let me try to share a little bit. 20 years ago, I was diagnosed with stage 2 cancer. I had 4 rounds of chemotherapy and 6 weeks of radiation therapy. After my first chemo, I felt like I was going to die, not because of my cancer, but because of the chemotherapy. So I decided that I would do some research of my own and that I would find out how to help my body recover. The reason why I was feeling so weak and feeling like I was dying was because the chemotherapy that they put inside my body was so strong that it literally wiped out all the white blood cells in my body. At alam naman natin na ang white blood cells is equivalent to our immunity. So kung wala kang white blood cells, wala kang immunity. So kung wala kang immunity, sobrang bagsak ng katawan mo. And the smallest little thing, like somebody walking in with a cough or sipon, can literally kill me. So what the doctors did was they put me in reverse isolation. And as a result, I could not see anyone. I couldn't talk to anyone except for my doctor and my nurses. And luckily, my doctor allowed me to have a laptop inside of my hospital room. And that's when I decided to take matters into my own hands. And I did all the research that you can imagine a person can research in the span of 9 months, which was the entire time that I was in under chemotherapy. So during that time, I discovered many beautiful, amazing products. But out of all of them, the king of all products that I discovered, or the king of all herbs as we say here in the Philippines, is barley. And so nag-research po talaga ako about all the benefits. There are so many benefits of barley that I cannot even spend just maybe 2 hours explaining it all to you. So I suggest what you do is you just Google online the benefits of young barley powder and you will see it all there. Basta, all I can share with you right now is I was at the point where the doctors gave me 6 months to live. I started taking barley every single day. After my first chemotherapy session, which took mga 24 to 25 days to recover, on my second chemo, I decided to take the barley right away. And 4 days after taking my second chemo, I was completely okay. After my first chemo, almost 24 days, I was bedridden. After my second chemo, okay, I took the barley, and immediately, 4 days later, I was completely normal already. I could go to the bathroom on my own. I started cooking my own food already. Everything was back to normal. So I inquired, did they lower the dose of my second chemo? No, they did not. They cannot, because once you have a standard, what do they call it, protocol, they have to stick to that. And the protocol that they gave me was enough chemotherapy for a 300-pound man. Why so much? Because I was so young. I was only 30, turning 31 at the time. And the doctors were very scared that the cancer that I had was a very aggressive kind of cancer. The younger you are, the more aggressive cancer is, simply because your cells are regenerating much faster when you're younger. That's why it's a double-edged sword. Kumbaga, mabilis kang ma-cure dahil bata ka pa, so you'll recover faster. Pero mas mabilis din mag-reproduce ang cancer cells. So the tendency for death is quicker. So in turn, they have to be very aggressive with how they treat your cancer. Now, what were the first signs that I saw? After taking my barley, the first sign that I saw was I would not be constipated anymore. Alam ko marami tayong mga kababayan na sobrang constipated. Nakakahiyaman sabihin, minsan yung iba, 5 days na hindi nakakapagbanyo. Don't worry, hindi kayo abnormal. A lot of times, that's just a lack of exercise. So there's not enough blood flow in your system. Sometimes it's not enough water. But through the years, what happens is your body starts to slow down. And instead of being able to go to the bathroom regularly, nasa stock up sa katawan ninyo. The first thing that the barley does is it completely heals that system of yours. You're able to go to the bathroom more regularly. After mga siguro 3 weeks pa lang of drinking your barley regularly, makikita nyo na the big difference in your habits of going to the banyo. The next thing that you will notice is your sleep pattern. A lot of people have a hard time sleeping. What do I mean by that? Minsan, nakatitig ka sa wall, di ba, 2:00, 3:00 na ng umaga, nakahiga ka naman, nakapatay na lahat ng ilaw, pero hindi ka pa rin makatulog. That's the second thing that you will notice, that you will sleep better in the evenings. You will get full rest every night, and you will wake up in the morning feeling more energetic. These are the basic things that barley will do in improving your well-being, especially now that it is COVID times. A lot of us, we're so uncertain about the future. We don't really know what's going to happen. Kailan ba magkaka-cure? Babalik pa ba tayo sa normal? Or ito na ba ang bagong normal? Maraming nawawala ng hanap buhay. Marami sa atin takot na magkasakit or mahawaan ng kung sino man. All I can tell you is that the barley somehow gives you that peace of mind. How does it give you peace of mind? It makes you realize na, whatever happens in the future, God is in control naman eh, di ba? At saka basta okay yung health natin, we're doing the protocols, which is wear your mask, wear a shield kung pupunta kayo sa mega crowded areas, wear gloves, and if you cannot wear gloves, wash your hands every hour. OA man, sige, magbaon kayo ng safeguard para lang meron kayong sariling, meron kayong sariling sabon pag lumalabas ng bahay. I think better to be overprotected than underprotected. And of course, drink your barley 3 times a day. Kung dati 1 time a day lang, during normal times, like I said, it is abnormal times. So always try to do things exaggeratedly, including drinking your barley, because that builds your immunity like nothing else you can imagine. Is there going to be a cure soon? I doubt it very much. I don't think so. I think personally that COVID or this kind of virus is here to stay. It's not the first, it won't be the last. And so the only way to really protect yourself is to build your immunity. So let's go back a little bit to what happened to me. After I was diagnosed with cancer, and my doctors told me that I had to have 4 rounds of chemo. On my second round, I started taking my barley. The first two things that I mentioned to you already is improvement of sleep and improvement of bowel movements. One thing that chemotherapy does also to your body is it kills off all the healthy cells, not just the cancer cells. So my hair started to fall off, my nails started to get gray, and of course, I started to lose a lot of weight. I was very scared and worried. But for some reason, after I started taking the barley, I was able to sleep better. I was able to recover from the chemotherapy side effects almost immediately. 4 days after, I was already back on my feet. It gives you a sense of well-being. It allows you to start doing mild exercise, kahit 30-minute walk lang, which before I started taking my barley, I was not able to do because I was really feeling very ill from the chemotherapy side effects. Aside from that, as I was slowly recovering, there are many things that I discovered that barley does. Number one, my doctors told me in the US that I would never have children again because after chemotherapy, my ovaries would shut down. It's true, they did. They shut down. And for 3 years, my period stopped. And I really thought, menopause na yun, that's it, I can't have kids anymore. But I drank it every single day, and after 3 years, my period returned. So after 3 years, amazingly, I was able to have my son, Liam, who is now 15 years old. Imagine being told you can never have kids again, and then all of a sudden you get a second chance at having another child. So how did that happen? Even my doctors were in shock. When I called my doctors and I told them that I was pregnant, when I called them and I told them that I was going to have another child, they actually congratulated me and told me that they were so happy for me that I decided to adopt. That's when I told them that I wasn't adopting, that it was a natural pregnancy. And they were a little bit baffled. They were like shocked, saying, how's that possible? And everything. But I think that what barley does really is it repairs your system, your entire body and how it runs. And we all know that our bodies are made by God. So I think that's why our bodies have the ability to heal itself as long as we give it the proper nutrition that it needs. And well, we all know that barley is the most complete food there is in terms of nutrition that there is in the whole world. I am actually reading several books right now on the benefits of barley and what it is about barley that makes it so amazing. Of course, ako alam ko na yung firsthand from my own personal experience what those are in terms of my life. Pero when you read about other people's experiences online or yung mga testimony din ng ibang tao with regard to barley, ma-amaze talaga kayo because ang dami. There's so many out there that it cannot be a mistake. And I also truly believe God doesn't make mistakes. So that is why it has become my passion to share the benefits of this amazing product. When I first got back in 2001, after my almost 1 year bout with cancer, I felt stronger. I felt like I looked better, healthier than I did even before I had cancer, which is really saying something because I think that when you go through something as difficult a journey as cancer, the way that I did, most people come out of it quite shaken. Diba? You feel like you need time to recover physically, mentally. Uh, the way you look is very different. But with me, it was completely the opposite. I felt like I looked and felt better and stronger. And as I did more research through the years, I realized it's really because of the properties that are in the barley that I am so blessed to have discovered even during the time that I was battling cancer. After that, I decided, made the decision that I would make it um, something that I would want to share with the rest of the world. Since it helped me recover, I believe that there's something in it that will help many other people in this world. And I hope that everyone listening tonight will at least give it a try because, I don't, like I said earlier, I don't think things happen by accident. I think that if you're listening to my testimony tonight, there must be a reason. And I also believe that the Lord doesn't make mistakes. And if you look it up in the Bible, how many times does the Lord actually mention barley, even in the Bible? So if even during that time, even during God's time, people were already taking barley, imagine how much benefits there must be in it. I mean, isn't that during the time that people built the Egyptian pyramids? And everybody did it by manual, as in there were no machines. Everything was done by humans on their own, and yet they were able to have the strength to do such amazing things that even in today's society and today's time, we still find it so amazing to see those things that they built during God's time, during Pharaoh's time. So let me talk a little bit more about barley and some of the benefits that I have discovered about it. Okay, first of all, we have a lot of testimonial letters, but I'll read a few. There are some for regular stuff like asthma and eczema. I know that a lot of Filipinos suffer through asthma, and I picked asthma tonight because I know that COVID during this time is very scary, especially for asthmatics, because people who have asthma have weak lungs already to begin with. So if you have weak lungs, how you might be asking yourself, how can barley help my weak lungs? Well, there is a testimony here that I will read to you. It is from Miss Michiko Nogami. She's 17 years old and she lives in Takamatsu City in Japan. And she says, I'm 17 years old. I've been suffering from asthma since childhood and also frequently from eczema. Eczema is a skin disease. I've made many visits to my asthma clinic with little benefit. Then I heard of barley and immediately tried it. After taking it a little more than 1 month, I found myself free of eczema. I also noticed that the attacks of asthma were reduced, and even when I had an attack, the symptoms were much milder. After taking Amazing Barley for 6 months, I scarcely have any attacks and I find my skin has become increasingly beautiful. I can't believe what has happened. These are just um, some of the testimonies that we have.